What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Peeps, fam, moms, dads, gents, cousins, sisters, whoever the hell want to watch this podcast. It's your boy Nappy Nick. You see down below that is the official, unofficial government name. I'm here with Jacoby, hopefully for the full time of the episode. Of course, our reliable Florida State uh, super fan Ryan Davies. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Doing good.
Hey man, I'm feeling pretty strong about Florida State right now, so I'm in a great mood.
Let's go. Push on a team that can put points up.
Fortunately, I feel pretty strong about y'all too. So
never thought we'd hear those words.
I know, right?
Well, for me, it was good to see that Florida State could put points up as I made a trip to Jacksonville and had to watch those Carolina Panthers be straight horrible, let alone during a rain delay. Also, Jacksonville, side note, before I know we get into this, Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know what y'all doing in that stadium. Y'all need to figure some shit out. That was probably the worst NFL stadium I've ever been to in my life. Not close. Not close. It is not close. It was total chaos trying to get to the seat. I'm just like, if I had my kid or family there, I would have been so pissed. Like, it was that bad. Like, it was insane. I wasn't even, like, hammered enough. It was just like, this is asinine. It's freaking wild. This is wild and crazy. The whole atmosphere, I don't know. That is not NFL city. Take that team to San Antonio. That's all I'll say about that.
That's just rude, is what that is. That's just rude.
Rude. Those are facts. Duval, get the hell out of that bullshit. Anyway,
you gotta say it right. You gotta go do.
Oh, trust me, I heard the entire damn game, and I apologize to the old lady that my homie made fun of about her wig.
Dang, man.
Maybe her wig shouldn't have been so stupid.
Maybe it shouldn't have been stupid. I said the same thing, but we gotta respect others. But anyway, back to it, guys. Week 2 scoreboard. Not as much of a hype up week compared to week 1, obviously, but damn, it was still entertaining. Starting with that very lead game, South Florida 18, Florida 15. Big upset in Gainesville. It came down to a last-second kick. In addition to that, Clemson 27, 2016. We're going to let Jacoby take lead on that in a second as I keep reading through. Duke losing to Illinois at home, 45-19. Mississippi State gets the upset over Arizona State, 24-20. Big game of the week, Oklahoma, Michigan, 24-13, going to the Boomers Sooners. Iowa State gets the Cy Hawk Trophy today. Not today, Saturday, 16-13 over Iowa. And Baylor gets the 14-point comeback against SMU, 48-45, going into overtime. Well, we're going to start with our resident Clemson expert, Jacoby, Mr. A.K.A. The Vibes. And let me see how the Vibes of Clemson are feeling after trailing 16-3 at halftime. Jacoby, take the lead. What are your thoughts on Clemson's offense and the team as they did round out 24 straight points? So, there's some optimism with that. But I'll let you take the lead in what you believe.
I mean, yeah, Dabo can sit here and talk about 27 unanswered points all day long, but my opinion is we should have never been in that situation. We're getting off to slow starts. Can't run the ball. I mean, we ran the ball coming out the second quarter pretty well, but I mean, it was Troy. You go up against Ohio State. Well, we saw at LSU, their defensive line just manhandled our offensive line most of the game in that second half. But I don't know. The past 5 since the 2019 National Championship, we just haven't been able to get going offensively consistently. We're missing short passes. Cade's missing. He's not comfortable in the pocket. I don't think. It's just the consistency on offense has not been there, and then that affects our defense when they're consistently back and forth. So, if they can get the offense rolling and we get out the hot starts, I think defensively we can take over the game, and then our offense isn't the center of attention anymore. So, but like a normal Clemson season, we're probably going to end up, doing fairly well the rest of the season. Florida State and Miami kind of scare me down the road. So, unless we get better, I don't see us taking the ACC this year with those two teams in contention. But if we stay consistent, get better, we'll have that shot, and then hopefully a playoff spot. So.
All right. Well, as we got Mr. Buck joining in, as he on his way to win MVP of the softball game. Buck, what's your?
The
We're just
oldest
talking.
player on our team by like 10 years.
Hey man, it's about the fountain of youth. It's about how you feel, buddy.
I get killed.
Hey, even the Pirates got Andrew McCutchen still.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm the Andrew McCutchen, and the rest of these guys, I guess I'll call Paul Skeens.
Well, Matt, I'll let you jump in on there. Jacob was just talking about the Troy Clemson game. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's pretty bad when you're getting booed at your home game. I don't know exactly what all Jacob said, because I cut in towards the end of that. And then when your head coach says he jumped in on the booing too, so that's usually not a good way to start your second home game, especially against Troy. But that Troy team actually gave them a fit a couple years ago as well. So I don't know. There's no excuse. Offenses look piss poor. Defensively, they look slow. Linebackers are slow. They can't cover anybody out of the field or out of the backfield. I don't know how you speed kills, and it's killing them. Offensively, it's the same shit, different story. Third year of trying to figure out what we are or are not offensively. And we are not good, that I can tell you. Somehow, it doesn't make sense. I've tried to figure it out, think about it. Offensive line had a bunch of guys coming back. I mean, it doesn't add up. You can't say you're not showing things when you start off with LSU and you don't show anything there. But they're just not good.
Well, I'm not harp on Clemson too much, man. They got time to improve. It's still early in the season, and the big fact they're still in contention. Still got a lot going on. Time to figure out some things. Even though we will get into their big game this week, starting the ACC competition. Let's go to our Florida resident right quick, Mr. Davies. Give his quick thoughts on USF's upset over the Gators, 18-15.
I'd be happy to. Florida offensively just looked completely lost. Going into the season, they were talking about their quarterback was a Heisman hopeful, and I just don't see it. His inability to complete even some of the simplest passes, can't get him over the middle, can't hit the outside. He's athletic, sure, but quarterback right now is not what he looks like. He looks like a running back that can occasionally throw, and not really a good one. Meanwhile, Bynum Brown, second consecutive impressive game. I believe he threw for 3 touchdowns. He's just putting balls on the right spot when he needs to, and honestly, it's keeping South Florida alive. And they might not be blowing out the scoreboard, but they look competitive. And that's not a team that I'd really be looking forward to playing right now if I was unsure about how my offense was going to go or how what kind of defense was going to show up, because Florida did not hold them the way they were planning to. And that's in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. That's one of the toughest stadiums to play in. I think I brought up last week that that's the highest winning percentage at home of any team in the country. And you just let South Florida, you just let a group of 4 team come in and show you up. But props to Byron Brown. Great game by him. The whole rushing team by South Florida too. They were getting it done. I think the team as a whole averaged like over 4 yards a carry. So, they went in, they did what they need to do. Good for the Bulls. I'd like to see them keep winning, honestly. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see a Florida State USF matchup in the playoffs at the end of the season. I don't know if we'll get it, but I'd like to see it. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Right. Well, before we move on from week 2, is there anything across from week 2 as we have the scores posted? And of course, there was a few other games we didn't list that you guys want to cover.
Yeah, I just want to mention Kansas State. I
Go
don't
ahead,
think we've gone over that one, but I told you last week, Kansas State, started off as Big 12 title contenders, lost, didn't look good against North Dakota, lost to Army. It was Army, not Navy.
Yeah. 24-21.
That was, it's going to be a long season for them.
Army was in the American Championship last year.
Yeah. As far as games from last week go, Kansas, Missouri, what a great old rivalry to see reinvigorated. Jalen Daniels, it's too bad Kansas couldn't get the win, but Jalen Daniels played spectacularly. Unfortunately, Missouri just came roaring back and stole that win from Kansas at home.
Yeah. Well, let's hype on that before we keep going. So for the floor, what was your most impressive performance from week 1? Let's start with you, Jacoby.
From week 1?
Oh, week 2. Sorry.
Week 2.
He cannot get his week straight to save his butt.
All right. Guys, for me, it's USF. They just continuously, back-to-back weeks, shown up, played ball, got a win. So right now, they're, my most impressive team. But, yeah.
All right. How about you, Matt? Oh, he's on mute.
I'm going to go a little bit differently here. I unmuted some driving. I'm going to go a little bit differently here. I'm going to go coaching staff. And it's not even a powerhouse school, but Fran Brown, after Syracuse comes back to beat UConn, I get it's UConn. Don't even go to the locker room. Just get ready for sprints. I love that mentality. I wish Clemson would do it, because they played like crap. But, nope, you're not going to celebrate. We're not done. Y'all didn't play with the crap. I love that. Big fan of Fran Brown's coaching.
Gotcha. How about you, Ryan?
Oh, I brought up Missouri for a second ago, and there's a reason. I think Bo Pribula probably had the best performance of week 2, quarterback for Missouri. Came back in that second half super strong, 3 touchdowns. I think in the second half he went like 13 for 15 or something after having a few incompletions in the first half. Being down in your home stadium against a big rival, classic rival you have in Kansas, and he was unshaken. He came in, he did what he had to do. I was really impressed by Bo Pribula of Missouri last week.
All right, and one last, question just for week 2 before we move on from it. Do you have a player or a team of the week for week 2? Ryan, we'll go back to you with us. Start off.
Well, most impressive player, like I said, was Bo. But if I'm going to go with a player of the week, I'm going to have to give it up to Sawyer Robertson at Baylor. 2 weeks in a row, he's thrown for 400 yards, I think. 3 touchdown performance in that game. There's not a whole lot of defense in Baylor, so this man I think has to go out there each and every day and carry that whole team on his shoulders. And came back, I think you said, from down 12 to send it into overtime in the fourth quarter, and of course they came away with the win. But yeah, Sawyer Robertson, he looks like a gunslinger, man.
Yeah, man. Right now, I think his odds went from like plus 12,000 start the season to like being the 4th favorite, given the crazy numbers he's probably going to put up with Baylor, given how bad they probably have put up so many points to be able to compete and get W's. How about you, Jacoby?
I'm stuck on Aguilar right now with Tennessee after, the issues with all the QB controversy and all that, and he comes in and he's just taking over the team. So that's who I got. I know they didn't play a big name team, but we'll see what he's got this weekend. So I think just so far he's been consistent, and right now he's probably who I got as one of my top QBs in the league right now.
All right, that's fair enough. And how's you knock of your buck?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma and the defense. I've heard everything about the $12 million man at Michigan and that he is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Well, we've seen him play one game. Some of these people just need to calm down, and I love that Venables and company slowed down that offense. They played a good defense, and they're not nearly what they are. Their offensive line is not as good, so I just love that Oklahoma exposed them a little bit. I'm tired of hearing about Michigan, to be honest, and their coach is overrated.
Yeah, coach is overrated.
Well, shoot, we talked about the importance of that game last week, and honestly, I think that
Michigan fans loved you for it.
Yeah,
they love for it.
I know. I mean,
play somebody.
I got proven wrong. I'm actually not upset about admitting to it because I think Venables, his seat just cooled down a little bit. And they still have a daunting SEC schedule, but now he goes into it with a little more relaxed, a little more relaxed on the pressure. But based off their performance, like Buck over there said, based on their performance, I think he's got this team prepared, and I think they're ready to see some tough competition going into their conference schedule this year.
Hey, but I do have one random question for you guys.
Go for
So
it.
if you get suspended as a head coach, how do you get to pick the games you miss? How does he not miss the first 2 games of the season, but instead he's missing the 3rd and 4th game of the season?
I didn't even know that was
how
the
that
deal.
Works. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's missing his next 2 games.
Yeah, his next 2 games. I believe he's missing like an FCS opponent the following year too. I think it's always a 3-game suspension, but it's not against any like
any team of consequence. Yeah,
consequence. Yeah, essentially it's a bye week for him.
Yeah, and Coach Pippen, the old Charlotte coach, is going to be taking over. He's used to coaching, or being the head coach of a team. So what exactly is the penalty here for Michigan? What are they really getting out of their NCAA indiscretion by?
I guess Jim Harbaugh did miss some games in the conference. He missed the Ohio State game.
But I don't remember him getting. Yeah, exactly. He missed Ohio State. I don't remember him getting to pick which games that he missed.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Pretty sure the AD actually picked those games too, not even the coach.
Yeah, I was just confused on how they got to pick the 3rd and 4th against nobodies instead of the season opener and then at Oklahoma.
Yeah, shouldn't like the conference president or somebody be the one to throw down that, and that way it's the head of the conference, or the NCAA. Even if
they're the ones that gave us.
Yeah. I mean, NCAA don't have that much of a bite right now, even with the contract. They never really did. The conference does. The conference won't do it solely because of the amount of money Michigan brings in. That would be my thoughts on that.
Yeah, but you know what? If they didn't do that and they didn't suspend him at the right games, that is on the whole conference as a whole, and people are going to hold them to a higher standard for that. The NCAA, we know they're going to crack down. They do it. So why have they not?
Cash rules everything around me.
Wu-Tang taught me that as a child.
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. That's always going to be the answer for it. But we're going to move on. We're going to start with our first game of the week. Texas A&M traveling to South Bend, Indiana, take on the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame's looking to bounce back, coming off an open loss to Miami in Miami. Notre Dame's open up as a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Over-under is 49.5. Buck, since I know you're about to go become an all-star MVP in your softball game, let's start off with this one. What's your thoughts on this game?
This one's really tough for me. Marcel Reed has looked great at quarterback for Texas A&M. Notre Dame, wasn't CJ, was it Carr? I can't remember. I can never remember his first. I think it's CJ.
Yeah, CJ Carr.
CJ Carr. CJ Carr did not look great in that first game. But, I mean, he's got Jeremiah Love. The offensive line is still good. I'm not overly sold on Texas A&M yet just because of who they've kind of played. But I do like Notre Dame in this, just to let that be out there.
All right, good to hear. Good to hear. Ryan, let's go to you. Who do you think has a coaching matchup in this game between Mike Elko and Marcus Freeman?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I do think Marcus Freeman is an excellent coach. I've enjoyed what he's done at Notre Dame in his short tenure there, and I do think he'll continue to succeed. But Mike Elko at Duke made teams afraid to play Duke. That's not a team you're afraid to play normally, but they were so disciplined and their defense was so stout that you didn't necessarily want to go all the way to you didn't want to go to Durham to go play those guys. And so now he's down at Texas A&M where he's got more money than God himself to recruit with. And if he brings that same discipline to a much higher level of talent that he can recruit out of Texas, which I think he's already, getting started doing, I think Texas A&M could really be problematic the next few years in the SEC. And so I think Elko's got the advantage here.
Oh, respect that. And Jacoby, get the last take on this. These are two quarterbacks that kind of need their team's going to go with how they go. Between Marcel Reed and CJ Carr, who do you think needs to kind of take us, a step forward if they actually want to have aspirations of the playoffs for their team?
I think it's Reed. I think there's more pressure on A&M going forward throughout this season because Notre Dame's kind of gotten there, stayed up, where Texas A&M's kind of fluctuated the past couple of years. They'll have a good game and lose when they shouldn't lose. So I think Reed has the more pressure, where Carr can kind of lean on Love a little bit more in that offensive line. So. And just like we saw in the Miami game, I mean, yeah, he didn't have the greatest game, but, they were still able to come back and almost win it. So, but yeah, I think the pressure's on A&M because of the money, because of the expectations. So, but I think overall, Reed will play pretty good, but I think Notre Dame's run game, and this will probably be the difference in this because A&M did allow 200-something yards against UTSA. So we'll see if they can improve that. But, yeah, I'm liking Notre Dame in this one.
Awesome, guys.
No respect.
The what?
What Buck said?
I was saying meet with the Roadrunners, baby. No disrespect.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. I like what they got going on in San Antonio. Honestly, the Roadrunners are a fascinating new up and coming football club to watch. Absolutely.
Hear that, guys. If you check the game or listen to this podcast right now, the best odds of all the bets so far on that game right now is FanDuel Sportsbook plus 6.5. You can get plus money, plus 100 right now for Texas A&M to cover. If you're on the Notre Dame side right now, minus 110 is most likely is most favorable across the board. Actually, there's a minus 109 on Bet Rivers. So if you're playing with your money or in a state where gambling is illegal across the board, and just keep your tabs on that. We'll keep moving forward. We're going to stay in the SEC. Next game, Florida coming off a surprising upset against USF. Now they got to go down to Baton Rouge to take on a much improved LSU Tigers. LSU is a 7.5-point favorite in this game. Over under is 48.5. Ryan, what does Florida need to do? I know we talked about it in the USF review earlier about how DJ Lagway was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks coming to SEC. What do you need to see for him to have a shot to take on the Tigers in Baton Rouge at a night game, let alone that?
You need to see him hit passes that are more than just the deep ball and the automatic passes like those screens. You need to be able to see him hit the outside numbers. You need to see him be able to hit those receivers who are beyond the hash. You need to see him make the difficult throws. Is great. You can make the throws you're supposed to make, and your receivers are good enough to get downfield that if you put a ball 20 yards or more, they can get under it. But that doesn't make an automatic winning quarterback. You need to be able to make the difficult plays as well. And I really haven't seen him this year consistently hit on those curl routes, on those fades on the outside. Those are the ones he's missing, and those are the ones he needs to make, especially against a team like LSU. We know they've got a great defense. We know that back four, those DBs that at our LSU are sharks. They're going to be swarming, waiting for him to make a mistake. And LSU is the kind of team that can capitalize. So what he really needs to do is focus and bring that ball in with enough touch that he's hitting his marks on those difficult throws.
All right, we're gonna pass it over to Jacob. Jacob, my question for you about this game is probably going to be actually LSU's defense. Obviously, we saw that Florida offense was a little limited against USF. Do you think LSU defense can keep the energy up as they seem that they held Clemson to 10 in this next big game? Or you think this is also going to buckle? As we know, last year the defense was historically bad too, and cost them some wins. Would the energy be the same in this game?
Yeah, I think after last week, they kind of got a little, not really. They didn't play the greatest, but it was just kind of that hangover that you normally have after a big game, and they kind of let it get them. And I think that they'll get back on track with it this week and get back up for a big game. Florida lost to USF, but LSU will be ready. I think defensively they're going to come out. The defense I saw in that second half against Clemson was nasty. They might be one of the top defenses when it's all said and done. You still got Perkins, who's just a beast. Like Brian said, the safeties. So I think DJ's going to have a lot of problems with LSU this week. But I think, like I said, LSU might be one of the best defenses by the end of the season. But we'll see how it turns out.
All right. And I think Buck had to disappear. So I'm going to throw it to the floor for both of you guys. Let me put this up on the thing. There it is. So there was no last year, and this year is probably even worse than it was last year. But Florida pretty much has one of the hardest schedules. 11 seconds zoom in for y'all guys to see a little more. There you go. Miami next after this. Texas A&M, Mississippi State looking to improve. Georgia, Florida game in Jacksonville. Still have Ole Miss, and it's also in the season with Florida State. Is there any salvation for Billy Napier to even have a shot at keeping his job, given the gauntlet of a schedule? Obviously, looking in, most people are saying that if he can get 7 or 8 wins, it probably should be a playoff team, honestly. With that schedule. Yeah. But given how it looked against USF last week and moving forward, for you guys, you think there's even possible chance that he can save himself?
Well, honestly, I'm not hopeful, which is too bad because I'd love Napier to be coaching against Florida State at the end of the year, but I'm just not sure if he's going to make it. No, I mean that is without a doubt one of the most daunting schedules I've ever seen in college football. Starting off the season after your first 2 games, you're playing pretty much 5 straight ranked teams, and ones that already look as they were previewed going into the season. Texas A&M, they're winning. Maybe not as convincingly, but I still wouldn't want to go down into College Station right now. If I'm Florida, Miami, I'm sweating that one. I mean, the way Miami has played already against Notre Dame, they're not afraid of tough competition. I don't even know. Mississippi State, they're looking majorly improved. They took down Arizona State last week, so I'm sweating if I'm Napier, and I do anticipate, especially if he doesn't get a single win by midseason, that he might be gone.
Any quick thoughts, Jacob, before we move on?
I mean, I don't disagree with anything that was said. I personally thought they would have fired him after the USF, but I don't know. There might be a lot of contract stuff in there that I'm not aware of, but yeah. So I'm pretty in agreement that I don't think he's going to make the end of the season.
Well, here's the thing. You know, when you're talking about coaches and upcoming schedules, you look at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's schedule is not by any means easier than Florida's. Oklahoma's might be just as daunting.
Yeah.
But you watching Venables come off that win against Michigan last week, you know Venables has the pedigree from his time at Clemson. I have a lot more confidence with Venables as the head coach than Napier. I think that Oklahoma might be an underdog in some of those games, but I believe he can pull off a couple of upsets to get them a decent record. I don't see that coming out of Florida.
No.
And that can change too. Like, you know, a win against LSU and our whole perspective of them is completely different. Not saying that, like, you know, we're going to think they're a playoff win, but like, it's like, all right, there's some optimism and hope, you know, stuff. But like, you know, last year you lucked up in that Florida State went 2-10, so you didn't really have to deal with them and stuff. And you got some key wins there. This year we're gonna have to see. You know, USF was supposed to be not necessarily a layup, but you know that was a home game for you against a Group of 5 team that you need to take advantage of, given the gauntlet you had to face. Now you're facing that gauntlet without that win, that 1-1. So it remains to be seen. Stuff. I have some thoughts on that as I move forward. When we get the best bets, stay tuned to that from our listeners and followers. But we'll keep it moving. Speaking of those Bulls, well, guess what? Can they knock out another of the big three in Florida as they travel down to the real South Florida and Miami to take on the Canes? Miami's a 17.5-point favorite, which was a little surprised that they were still that big of a favorite. I guess, unless you're that big of a believer in Miami. On the over-under is 56.5. Jacob, what is it, a fluke, or you think South Florida can shock the world again?
I don't think they're a fluke by any means. I don't know about shocking the world this go round. I just think Miami's just got the upper hand talent-wise, and actually have played as a team, whereas Florida they're just not there yet chemistry-wise. I don't think that coming into Florida or into Miami, it kind of rejuvenated his career. I saw a different player than I saw last year at Georgia. He looked defeated last year at Georgia. Didn't look like he was having fun, but he looked like he's having fun. But I will say, I think South Florida is going to take them to – they're going to give them a scare. But then I think late third, fourth quarter, Miami will pull away. But if they can hang in there, and I don't know, if they can get ahead going into halftime, then it might be a different game altogether in second quarter, or second half. But I just think that after that, the first half, they're going to be tired, running all over the place, and Miami's defense will probably take over by the end of the game. But they'll give them a run for the money. But I'm hoping that if they shock the world, I'll be happy. We'll put it that way.
Brian, question to you as our Florida expert, stay a Florida expert. As we saw them beat Florida last week, we know the history of Mario Cristobal, that we know he's a great coach, but sometimes Mario's. Well, he's 50-50. We know he can recruit, worst case, and play calling, the questionable decisions, and critical moments remains to be seen. Obviously, I would give you that. But in this game, you think Mario was going to show up and get his team ready and handle business, or will they pull another kind of like how they pulled against Georgia Tech last year and lose the game they shouldn't have lost?
You know what? I will admit I've never really been a crystal ball fan. Maybe it's because while Florida State, we had oh geez, I can't believe I forgot his name. Our previous coach before Norvell, crystal ball.
Willie.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Coach Willie
Taggart.
Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart.
Cristobal was up in Oregon, more than happy to throw as much shade as he could our way. So I might be a little bit salty about that still. But yeah, he there's just some games, man, where you got to watch. It seems like they've got it in their hands, and you just got to. He makes some sort of call or calls a timeout at a bad place or forgets to call a timeout at the right time. And you just shake your head like that. That should be, if you're a coach, it seems like that would be basic. What are you doing? And I think he outmaneuvers himself sometimes, and not in a good way. Meanwhile, you got Alex Golesh down there at South Florida. That you watch him on the sidelines, I want to run through a wall when I'm watching the game. I can only imagine how those South Florida players feel. That guy gets them hyped. And South Florida, I think if Golesh brings that attitude and coming off a win against Florida, which, by the way, had the exact same spread that we're looking at right now against Miami, they're going to come in. Those Bulls are going to come in thinking they can win. And if I'm Cristobal, yes, I've got this new quarterback after a year with Cam Ward that was phenomenal. He's looking good. He's looking fresh, like Matt said. He's not looking as sluggish as he did at Georgia last year. He's looking like he's got a little more energy, a little more pep. But I'm cracking down if I'm Cristobal. I'm not letting them celebrate a Notre Dame win right now. I'm making sure that they stay focused, and I'm praying to God that we're not making simple mental errors either on the field or on the sidelines. So I think there might be a chance that Cristobal cracks under the pressure this week.
I'll my quick challenge with this is it's kind of like with Florida. They kind of got to get this win because their next 3 games is pretty much just going to tell their season. As they got Florida, they're hosting Florida next week. Florida State a bye week after that. Then they host. They go to Tallahassee to play Florida State. Then you got Louisville come in after another bye week. So the way their schedule is structured, it's a lot of hard games back to back. But they got some breaks in between there to kind of get themselves ready and get back healthy. But you got to have it, pretty much this is your season. The next 3 games, and you can't scrub up to a group of 5. Now on the flip side, if I'm South Florida, you're the most problem team in the group of 5 of any by far, pretty much. Because if you can get this win, no one has a better record than you so far to start the season. And you can definitely make an argument that they should be a top 5 team if they can get this win over Miami. If they beat Miami, you got to give it to them just based on resume.
Okay, yeah, I was questioning you until you said if they beat Miami. Okay, I can at least put them in the top
10.
If they beat Boise State, if they beat Boise State, Florida, and Miami 3 straight weeks, how they're not top? Who has a better record than that?
Florida State.
Better resume than that. Even with Florida State, they just beat Bama, and they had them at home. Don't forget.
No, no, you're not right. It's an
okay.
They were like
they come away with
those
3 wins. Yeah, if they come away with those 3 wins to start out the season, no, it's hard to argue that they shouldn't be in the top 5. Because you're right. Just about everybody else has played a cupcake. Even Florida State played East Texas A&M last week.
Yeah, and they got Penn State this week.
On the schedule side, I'll absolutely give that to you. 3 daunting opponents, and you came in, you busted the first one in the freaking mouth. You held your ground against the second one. We don't know what they'll do against Miami yet, but if you pull off that win somehow, that's impressive. And all of a sudden, those games that at the beginning of the season, like North Texas, Memphis, San Antonio and Navy, which, I probably would have tossed a coin for South Florida on those. You put Miami away, all of a sudden, those 4 games, those 4 conference rivals, they look like sure wins now. And you beat Miami, you're looking at 12. You're South Florida. You're already thinking 12-0.
I'm thinking 12-0 without question. Like Tulane, maybe Army in that conference in Memphis. Like
that's the thing. They don't play Tulane this year. They miss probably the toughest opponent in the American Athletic in their schedule this year. You got North Texas, who's competitive. You've got Memphis, and Memphis has been a giant killer before. They had a great first 2 weeks. You got Texas San Antonio, who just gave Texas A&M a first half scare, and then you got Navy. Those games are difficult, but if you beat Boise State, Florida, and Miami, those games don't look like anything anymore.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm just saying, if y'all pull this off, this is a Bulls podcast. We will be supporting the Green Dove. I promise you that.
I love a good Cinderella. Let's do it.
Yeah, I want to be behind South Florida this year. I want to see if the playoffs will have 3 Florida teams.
And one of them not being Florida would be wild.
Or right.
Step the game up, UCF. Y'all had their run. Don't forget now,
hanging that fake ass banner from your stands.
And don't forget, way back when, what was that, 2007? South Florida was the number 2 team in the country at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, no, don't forget, it's possible. And they get a new football stadium, so this would be a good way to kind of set the tone as they transition and move from Raymond James. All right.
Well, I'll bring this up.
Go for it.
Coming into this season, not including this past recruiting class, it was actually South Florida who was behind Miami in recruiting out of the state of Florida.
Oh.
Up until the 2025 recruiting class, South Florida for 5 straight years had recruited more players from Florida than both UF and Florida State. Only Miami had more. And, I'm a Florida boy. I'm a Florida homer. I love Florida football. It's just different down there. And if you're pulling from programs like that and you're getting these kids to come to you, that's how if you play in the state of Florida, that's how you build a program. You build from inside your own state. And I gotta say, South Florida, it's early. I get that, but they are impressing me already. Golish looks like a dude who knows what he's doing. He looks like he belongs in that green and gold weird color scheme, but I think South Florida's building something impressive right now, and I'd like to see them continue it.
Hope so too, man. Hope they turn up Tampa. That'd be a good time down there. Hard Rock. I'll see you. I'll be down there if they make it to a playoff game. I promise you that. Be a good time.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
Who wouldn't want to be in Tampa in January?
In January, I can tell you that over a freaking Columbus, Ohio, or something.
Right?
Definitely way better than being in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Oh God. Hey man, Trail of Tears. We're there for you guys. All right, we'll go back to the SEC. I think Jacob O'Brien was saying that Joey Aguilar that was hyping him up earlier. Well, guess what? We're about to see what he does this week as they welcome in the defending SEC champs, Georgia Bulldogs. 3.5 point favorites. Over under is 49.5. Jacoby. Post Nico era with Tennessee. This is their first major test. You think Joby can step up and do? Because right now Nico's looking very basic and probably regretting his decision on UCLA right now. So you think Tennessee can actually step up and actually do something against this Georgia defense?
I think this is the year that they do it. And it's not just strictly because of Tennessee's offense, which I think is going to be, with Aguilar being a pretty efficient quarterback. He hasn't thrown the ball or put the ball in bad situations a lot this season that I've seen. But I think what we're really looking at here with Georgia, yes, defensively they're good. They have Kirby Smart. You know Kirby Smart's teams are going to be disciplined, always ready. But I think for them this year, Georgia's offense is worrying me. Gunner's kind of in the position of where we were with DJ, where he came in, he played a fantastic game the season before, comes in with his first season starting, and it's real lackluster. Same thing happened with Cade. I think Georgia's in that situation, but Aguilar's come in, first 2 games, he's played almost flawless football after all the distractions that happened with Nico. So I'm giving Tennessee the edge on this, and it's strictly at the quarterback position. And I think that this will be when Tennessee takes over Georgia for the first time in, I don't know, 7, 8 years or something like that. So
To Brian, Gunner Stockton, you think he could be a replacement for Carson Beck and actually get Georgia back to the playoff and also compete for national championships?
You know, I actually like what was just said. The comparison to DJ Uigalele and Cade Klubnik. I do think down the line, I definitely see good things in the way Stockton plays. There have been a few moments against Austin Peay that you saw what they see in him. He's just not putting it together all the way, and maybe that's just because he's young. He's just getting it started. So, yeah, he's still trying to figure things out, and it's not a terrible idea. Yes, the biggest 2 cupcakes to start a season I've seen in a while. But maybe it wasn't the worst idea to have Stockton play against teams like that, teams that he should be able to beat, gain his confidence up a little bit, and maybe we see a little more out of him coming into this Tennessee game. I don't think so, though. I think Tennessee is really going to hammer on him, maybe shake a little of that confidence he might have built, but he's definitely got flashes that you like to see in the guy that you plan on being your long-term answer at quarterback. He just hasn't put it all the way together yet, and that's okay. You're young, man. You're going to get there. It's the SEC, and you're at Georgia. It's a lot of pressure. So I definitely believe that he can. He has made some primo throws in tight windows and difficult locations, but he just doesn't do it regularly enough yet for me to say that that's the guy right now. But I can see why they like him.
agreed.
I hear. And one side note about this game for like anyone that's listening, especially on the betting side, because this game originally opened. This is why I asked, like in our private chat earlier, I didn't realize it went down to like 4 and 3.5 because originally this game opened at 7, and Tennessee got bet heavy to cover. But one note about this game is that Tennessee's both starting corners are going to be out for this game.
Yes, yeah. But here's my thing. I'm not worried about that. Tennessee's strength, what I've seen so far, is in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
True.
That offensive line is held pat. I mean, Aguilar is making smart throws because he has the time to do it. He had, I don't remember how many incompletions, but 4 of them were throwaways. So you can't even really hold those against him. You know, like that's just him making a smart decision outside of the pocket to get rid of the ball. And Tennessee's defensive line have pushed everybody they've come up against straight to the wall. And old school football mentality, that's where you win the game. Heupel has done a good job, I think, of recruiting at the 2 big men positions in those trenches, and it shows. Whereas Georgia is the opposite. That's probably where I've seen the least I've been impressed by Georgia is on their offensive line and minimal push by their defensive line. It wasn't for those linebackers at Georgia, I don't think they'd be getting much pressure at all.
All right. Well, there it is. Awesome breakdown on that, guys. Love it. Love it. Now we'll get to the games that we really want to talk about. But we're going to start with the first one in Columbia. As we got the Gamecocks welcoming the Commodores. South Carolina's a 4.5-point favorite. Over under 48.5. I'm going to start with our in-house Clemson resident, Jacoby, Mr. Vibes. Straight up, do you think South Carolina's fraudulent?
No.
No. Okay. Do you think Lenore Sellers can improve his game in the passing game to actually get this team to the playoffs?
Well, I think he has to. I didn't get to watch a lot of this past weekend's game. But if he can improve in that and get consistent, I know they struggled a little bit, but it kind of seems to be a common theme. And in the playoff area, you're kind of allowed to struggle a little bit in the beginning of the season, which is, I think, good with chemistry. So if he can find that receiver that he's comfortable with, they can start connecting. And I think that they're going to make a run for it as well. So, but yeah, as long as he can get that consistency going, and then obviously using his feet when he has to kind of keep defenses on their toes, he will be the reason why they catapult this season, I think.
For Ryan, now this is probably one of the only few times, at least on this schedule, that we have a common opponent where Vanderbilt went to Virginia Tech and put 44 on them after trailing by 10 in the second half. Do you think Pavia has what it takes to get this team, take them to Columbia and sneak out with the W?
Pavia does. Pavia is still got his confidence and his swagger from last year after that 9-win season that the Commodores had. And he really believes that the Commodores, he really believes that the Commodores belong right now. And I haven't seen a bigger chest thumper for Vanderbilt in I don't know when. He has the capability. He's very accurate. I think he's got only 10 incompletions on the season so far. I mean, yeah, I keep having to say it's early, but that's still impressive. He can make the deep throw. He can make the throws to the outside. He can hit it over the middle. He definitely has the ability. I'm more worried about Vanderbilt's wide receivers to be able to extend the play than I am about Pavia's ability to make the pass.
That's fair enough. That's fair. I did have one more question. Let's see.
Oh, but hey, while we're thinking about it, if I'm really impressed by someone over in Vanderbilt, it's that run game. They are brutal, and they get big yards off the carry. That right now is their X factor. Because yes, Pavia, he's making good throws, but if he's able to lean as much on that run game as he has already early, it's going to be an easy season for him. Because right now you've got Alexander averaging, I think, something like 7 yards a carry, averaging 7 yards a carry. And the other running back, whose name eludes me at the moment, is basically pulling the same amount of weight. You got two guys who can bully up the front. That's going to open up the secondary for you, and all of a sudden those throws are going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I think the defense for Vandy, can they slow down, essentially on the other side, North Sellers and Cyclones run the game? That would be the answer. And if Nick Harbor can actually be the consistent deep threat, I think Cyclones would be strong and stuff. But like as you see the numbers from the listeners who can't see right now, the big monies right now so far. This is still early in the week. This is definitely can change. But right now it's trending to Vandy to cover. I haven't checked the money line money yet. But I'll keep tabs on that on Real Free Guys, so you keep that up for you. All right, but we're going to keep it moving as we head down I-20 to the ATL for our last highlighted game of the week. Number 12 Tigers, 3.5-point favorites. Open ACC play with Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Brent Key, Haynes King, Ryan. This script just asked you, do you think Georgia Tech can pull off the upset?
Yes, especially after what I've seen from Clemson the last couple of weeks. If you remember our first show, I said Georgia Tech was my dark horse favorite to win the ACC. I think people slept on them before coming into the season. I think King has shown that he can play consistently, although I think he got hurt last game. I don't know how seriously. But between him, Haynes, those other two running backs that they got running that sweep option, essentially, Georgia Tech runs a difficult offense. They run it effectively. Their defenses looked pretty good so far, whereas Clemson has looked like they're running on flat tires. So right now, you're going into Atlanta. I'm taking Georgia Tech in this game. I absolutely think they'll come away with a win this week.
Well, both statements. Jacob, taking down the chin right now. Don't worry, man. Get your Mai Tai over there in Hawaii.
I mean, I can't argue with what he said. I mean, it's I haven't
nice.
seen anything different. So,
That's fair. Well, let's turn to you, Jacob. So with Clemson, K. Klubnik, probably the biggest line. Can they get this offensive line right to give more time and also give them a running game to take advantage of Georgia when opportunities? Like, I'm assuming Georgia Tech's part of the game plan is to keep Clemson off the field, keep control of the ball, time of possession. That's part of the strength, and give them limited opportunities. So in those opportunities, can Clemson take advantage of that and get this offense back right? I'm not sure if Antonio Williams, is he playing this game or is he still out?
I haven't seen if he's coming. I think he's questionable still. So I haven't seen anything updated on him.
All right.
But
quick note is I think what we see out of Georgia Tech this week with their sweep read option and how Clemson adjusts to it, because so far nobody's adjusted well to Georgia Tech's option offense. And if Clemson struggles with it here, then they're going to have a hell of a time against Florida State in a few weeks, because the only team I've seen run the sweeps and misdirection better than Georgia Tech so far has been Florida State.
Yeah. But
You think chime on with that, Jacob?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one thing I'm worried about is that option is our defense going to be able to stay disciplined? Because I saw some stuff in that Troy game where they were just running from behind trying to catch up. And you got Woodass talking junk that he doesn't want to. He's tired of hearing about Christian Wilkins. He's tired of hearing about Dexter Lawrence. Well, we're going to keep hearing about him because y'all aren't making a name for yourself. But let's see what they can do this weekend against it. Offensively, to take advantage, Cade's got to be on point early. When Cade gets off, it's a horrible game, And just in our nature, since Trevor, we start out kind of slow. We always got that one game where we really bounced back. This is always kind of in that field of play, like third, fourth game where it really gets turned on for the rest of the season. And then we look like a good team, and then we end up like the first game again.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not like that this season, but Cade has to get his rhythm down. And I don't know what Garrett Riley's doing, because the play calls I saw when he was at TCU, I ain't seen those plays. Half the time those plays happen when Cade's on the run and then somebody pops open and Cade hits them. That wasn't planned. I don't know what Riley's doing really, but hopefully they can get it turned around. I wouldn't bet the farm on this game in any way, shape, or form. But
and that's a good point.
I mean,
I have not seen
Georgia Tech scares me with that run.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have not seen Klubnik hit passes on the run the way that he needs to with the way that he's had to escape. Whereas when you watch, whether it's Philo or King down at Georgia Tech, they're used to making throws on the run, and they hit dimes.
Well, you look at him in the Texas game and the playoff, he was hitting those on the run. But I do grant it, okay, he's had a whole season to get back in groove. But you're a third-year starter at this point. You should not need more than a game to get back in the groove. That's where I'm frustrated. So Cade's not that dude that Dabo talks about, which Dabo thinks every dude's that dude, but that's for a topic for another day. So
this positivity. And I think some
I
of
mean, I
our
like the positivity, but
yeah, it was positivity, but also, he doesn't bag his court well too often. Sometimes he does in the media, but like I will say that if you look at the game tape with Cade, I think the frustration with him is because he has ability. It's not lack of ability. It's more so just it's like he doesn't see it pre-snap, and that's like
right.
that to me is the difference of a third-year starter and a first-year starter. It's like, all right, where's the hot reads coming from? Where's the blitz coming from? All right, this is my check. This is my first read, second read, third read, and he's holding the ball too long. And I don't know if it's because of he's trying to always look to make the big play, the big splash play, or he's not trusting his offensive line, so he feels like he needs to get out the pocket to make a run to get the chains moving. It's been like, it's a progression in one game or one drive at this point. Then you see 2 or 3 negative regression plays stuff. Yeah. He just isn't consistent. And kind of like your Hartwell, he's a 3-year starter. When is this? When you're gonna make this leap of faith? Because you're pretty much that's taking Clemson from potentially 9-3, 8-4 to 11-1. That's your difference. Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we harped on that game a little too long. Make it easy. Before. All right, guys, we're in our final segment. We're gonna go with the best bets. We're gonna do a review of week 2 first. Let me see if I can pop it up. Pop, lock, and drop it. While I'm doing this, there you go. Give me all these options. All right. As we pop that on the board, make sure you guys see it. There you go. All right, week 2. So, I'm from the listeners that are listening to this. I'm just gonna run through them right quick. Start with myself. Your boy Nick went 2-3 last season. My 2 wins were Baylor to cover against SMU with the +3, and also Vanderbilt to cover +1.5 against Virginia Tech. My losses were Kansas against Missouri at +6.5. San Diego State losing to Washington State +1.5, and Duke losing to Illinois at +3. Matt went 3-2 for the week. His wins were under a 41.5 in the Iowa and Iowa State game. Missouri -6 against Kansas, and Vanderbilt +1.5 against Virginia Tech. His losses were Florida 17.5. And SMU losing to Baylor at -3. Ryan with the best weekly record for the week at 4-1. His wins were NC State at 2.5, under a 57 in Syracuse in the UConn game. USF hitting home +17.5, and Mississippi State also hitting at +6.5. His only loss was WVU to Ohio.
I still can't believe that one.
Yeah, that was a fishy game. I was like, man, should I put money in? Because there's weird reason why everybody's betting on Ohio right now.
Are we going to have? They've always been a good program, but are we going to have to talk about Ohio getting into the playoffs this year? Because that was the toughest game by far on their schedule.
I mean, we're gonna keep that quiet on that one. I'm not that hype on the MAC yet. There's a lot of things that happen.
Yeah, okay. We're not ready for any barn burners.
Finish out with Jacob. Jacob went 3-2 for the week. He hit on Syracuse going -7 against UConn. Michigan State -3.5. That was a very close game with Boston College.
Oh, my bad. I forgot they play Ohio State this week.
They play Ohio State. Oh, yes.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, forget that.
And James Madison covering at +14. His losses were over a 41.5 Iowa State and SMU at 2.5. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts of your bets for week 2?
Well, I mean, I felt pretty confident about my Mississippi State pick after watching Arizona State play that week 1. They did not look like the number 11 team in the country by any means. And Shapen down at Mississippi State, that guy's a competitor. And he showed it last Saturday. Only one, I was very confident going into those bets, but I'm still just dang surprised by that West Virginia-Ohio game. I really am. So good for the Bobcats.
Good for the podcast. And quick thoughts, Jacob?
SMU, take notes from Hawaii. They got a kicker who learned off YouTube. Y'all would have won the game in regular and before overtime.
Right. Well, we're going to look in the rearview mirror and move forward with it for week 3 stuff. Ryan, start us off with your week 3 picks.
Hey, I've bet on South Florida once already. I'm doing it again. It's now gone to 17.5, and that just makes me feel better because I think South Florida can definitely cover that spread. And like I said, I'd love to see them get an upset this week. I have to turn on West Virginia after their poor performance against Ohio last week. Pitt looks pretty good. We know Narduzzi is a great defensive coach. He's going to be able to keep West Virginia. He might keep them off the board if they play like they did last week. Kansas State, they have the Ireland curse. They lost in Ireland, and now they're not going to win the rest of the season. So Arizona was an easy pick there. I'm going Tennessee. I'm not taking them to cover the spread. I'm taking them to win this week. I think Tennessee is going to take that game, and I think they're going to show that they are or should be considered legitimate threats to appear in the SEC championship and definitely show up to the playoffs this year. And Texas A&M, that quarterback is both their leading passer and their leading rusher. Notre Dame, they're a big team, big offensive line, big defense. I think Texas A&M has a little too much speed for them. I still don't say Notre Dame for sure is going to take the L, but I definitely think A&M can keep it close enough that they can cover a 6.5 spread up in South Bend.
All right. There you have it, guys. As Brian Davies giving his best bets for week 3. We'll keep it moving with the Vibes King himself, Jacoby from Hawaii. All right, man. Well, give us the Hawaiian flavor. What do you think of your week 3 picks? Let's go.
Week 3, I got USF first half plus 9.5. They're definitely going to ride that momentum coming in. So take that in the first half. I do got Clemson covering in this game. I think it is their bounce back game. Like I said, it's just kind of how we've operated the past couple of years, and I'm going off that. Hopefully Kate gets it together. Bama rolls over Wisconsin. By no means I think Bama's back in any way, shape, or form. I just think Wisconsin's not ready for Bama's defense. And Bama will start rolling again. Then I got Georgia, Tennessee. I do like Ryan's pick of the money line. I will probably take that as well, but I like the over in this. I think that'll kind of initially be a shootout before the defenses kind of figure it out. But Tennessee prevails in that one. But both of them I have, Tennessee might put up 30-something points, and I have faith in Georgia putting up 20-something. So cover that. And then Oregon State covering that 23.5 line. I really like that. So we'll see how that goes.
I thought about taking that one myself, honestly.
Yeah.
I honestly thought about fighting you on that because I really actually am pretty high on Texas Tech.
I am too, but hey, Malik Murphy's up at Oregon State. He can throw the ball.
If that was the case, he'd still be a Duke.
Not in this age. They go wherever they want. They don't
follow
care.
the money, man.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
It's all about the money, right?
Yep.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Matt has all opposite of me, so.
He basically has the opposite of me.
Yeah, pretty much. You on the other side. Matt's picked for my listeners who can't see. He has Georgia 3.5 favorite over Tennessee on the road. He took Pitt at -7, traveling down to WVU in that big backyard brawl.
Baby.
He took USF plus 17.5 against Miami. He has Ole Miss 7.5 favorites hosting Arkansas, and he also has Notre Dame as home dogs against Texas A&M at -7 for it. Those are Matt's picks. We see. So someone's going to have a good record. Someone's going to have a bad record given how those are laid out between you guys. We're gonna go to the best picks of the day. That's your boy, your host Nick, going down with it. Me, I go outside the box because I actually look at the games for what they are, not just the games everybody's watching on ABC and ESPN and Fox and shit. But they're gonna go to Cal, man. Look, man, Ron Rivera got a lot of flack from coming in and shaking up things, but I think they got a quarterback down there, man. So I'm taking +2 hosting Minnesota. Give me Duke get a bounce back. I know it's on the road to Tulane. Tulane's one of the better group of 5 teams. But I think Duke's going to shake some off. They did look good in the first half against Illinois, and then Illinois pulled away in the second half from them. I think Duke's going to correct some things. Hopefully, Diaz can make better decisions on some of that coaching he was doing. North Texas, 5.5 point favorites against Washington State at home. I think that's also another sleeper group of 5 team. North Texas has been stepping up in their football program, getting upright.
Green, baby.
Mean Green. I'm really surprised Matt didn't take this, but I took it. Houston, 4.5 point favorites against Colorado. Colorado switching quarterbacks, going with the third stringer. I think they say he's a dog. Well, I got to see it. You switching to your third string quarterback 3 games into the season is a red flag to me. So I'm giving the Cougs 4.5 against Colorado. Then I'm on the opposite end of Clemson. I don't think Clemson's going to lose. I think Georgia Tech is going to keep it close with that run game. So give me the 3.5 point favorite at home in ATL with the Yellow Jackets. Sting them. Buzz. And also, I'm trying to go to grad school there. So holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. Besides the best we gave, guys, are there any other games y'all have that we haven't covered, bet-wise or anything that you want to harp on?
No. Give me a second.
Everything.
I gotta bring my notes back up. It's taking forever.
Oh, you're all good. I think I had one. I'll go while you're looking, Ryan. If I can find the game. There was one. Where it went? Because it was kind of 50-50 on it. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was lying.
All right.
Wait, Ryan. I got you.
All right. The one other game that I did want to talk about is we got Missouri again going up against Louisiana, and Louisiana is 1-1, but they are not somebody to sleep on right now. There was a 10-win season a season ago, I believe. Yeah, 10 wins, I believe, a season ago, even being considered for a possible group of 5 playoff contention. So Missouri, they're just coming off a hard win against Kansas, and this is a trap game. Louisiana shouldn't have the talent to beat Missouri, but Missouri just played their hearts out against Kansas at home. They're staying in Columbia, and they got who do they got next week? And they got Alabama. No, they got South Carolina coming up next week. So I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri gets caught with their pants down a little bit, has a shocker, kind of like Clemson did against Troy last week, and have to make it up in the second half. I'd just say keep an eye on that one because this has got trap game written all over it for the Tigers.
All right. I actually have 2, maybe 3. Just kind of just throw in if you actually want to play with money. First one, they're going to win this game. I just don't think they're going to win this much. I think they're going to win about 3 scores, not 4. So give me Central Michigan to cover at 27.5 against Michigan. I just don't think Michigan has the tools around Bryce Underwood. They're going to run the ball. They'll probably keep it very minimal. And I just think that it's probably like a 28-7 game. I think 27.5 is a little too big of a spread. My second game I had was NC State and Wake Forest on Friday night. NC State is on the road going to Winston-Salem. That's kind of a pickup game. Looking at the numbers of that, 7.5, I believe, is NC State's was favored by. I'm gonna take it. I don't think Like I don't think Wake Forest is as good. They are 2-0, but they struggled 10-9 with Kennesaw State. I have not forgot that. So give me NC State to win that game at least by 2 scores, I believe, honestly. So I think that's a good opportunity for alt line. If you want to be plus money, you might can get a plus 10 if you really think they can win by 10. That's just a little side note. The game is also on Friday night, so it's a shorter week for them, even though they're only going down the road, obviously. And my last one, and this is kind of a sicko play. It's like, do you really want to do this? But why not? Purdue to cover against Southern Cal, 21.5. Look, man, West Coast teams don't do good coming to the East because they cross those mountains, man. Not saying Southern Cal is going to lose. I know Purdue was one of the worst teams in college football last year. I'm not going to say they're vastly improved either, but I think they can cover at home and lose by 2 scores, not 3, 4. That's all I have for you on the plate.
I got one more to be. I think this is one that people need to watch out for because it seems, based on their record and based on how they played already, it seems like it should be an automatic bet. But I would be wary picking Boston College over Stanford. Boston College played great at Michigan State last week. Barely missed beating them. Had to go to overtime. But now they got to travel all the way from Boston to Stanford in California. Huge time difference.
ACC game.
Conference game, ACC game, somehow. All Coast Conference.
All Coast Conference.
I definitely think Boston College could pull away with a win. Stanford does look a little bit better than they did last year early, but they still have 2 losses to start the season. I would not be surprised if Boston College struggles to cover that 12.5. I would take Stanford in that right now.
Ooh. See, that's do it there for you guys. We're looking out for your interest, man. When these other shows and these other TV series and analysts will cover only the big games, we care about the little guys too, man. We show love to everybody. This is the college football podcast, not just ACC or the SEC or the Big Ten. You know, we cover everybody. We show love to everybody. But with that being said, guys, if y'all have nothing else to throw, once again, I appreciate y'all showing love on this Tuesday. That's Ryan. That's Jacob. This is the Dual Threat Podcast. Please check us out. Oh, let me get this up before I forget. Oh, working on it. Oh, got a QR code. Ooh, baby steps. Don't forget, Florida State is playing Kent State this week. We're hoping for another 70 burger down there. With that being said, please follow us on all major social medias. You see it down there. Dual Threat Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. Holy City High.
Before we get flamed, Florida State's on a bye week this week. Buffalo is playing Kent State. And Buffalo is favored. Buffalo is favored at 22.5 in Kent State. I would take Buffalo. I would take Buffalo at 22.5 over Kent State this week.
Over Kent State. Kent State might be the worst team in
college football this year, yeah. And that includes the 3 newcomers in Missouri State, Delaware, and Richmond? Was Richmond the other? Yeah.
It might be worse. Ooh, I'm glad you just said it. Oh, before we go, damn, see me. God, where's that? No, I was thinking about. Oh, yeah, one more. Old Dominion, taking +7 over Virginia Tech. That is a big rivalry game in the state of Virginia. I think Virginia Tech coach might be fired by October if he keeps up not being lying.
I feel like they want Coach Pry to lose, man.
I think they're rooting for him, honestly. I think the players probably just bell him. But I know there was a game I was looking for. I was kind of forgetting about. Yeah, Old Dominion +7, Virginia Tech on the road. I believe that. With that being said, guys, appreciate you coming out. Check us out next Tuesday. We'll be here at the exact same time. This is the Dual Threat Podcast for Jacoby, Ryan, Matt, who's playing softball. You better have a couple home runs. And for missing our show on Tuesday. He's a busy guy on Tuesdays when we're supposed to record our show. I don't know what this guy's doing.
Yeah, why does he keep making plans on Tuesday? This is the only thing that happens.
Gosh. Your favorite Florida State pod. Let's go. This is the Dual Threat Podcast. Gentlemen, adios.
Adios.
Peace, guys.
Where is the button? There it is.